Hello, my friends. Today we are going to work transforming a grammar into Chomsky Normal Form. So without more ado, let me share my screen and we will go into the exercise. So this is the grammar that we have, and just a reminder, Chomsky Normal Form should it's a special form of the grammars where the production rules should look something like this, right? You should have a variable that produces another two variables, or that produces a terminal. So all the production rules should look like this, right? As you can see, we have other forms here. For instance, here we have a terminal and a variable, or we have three variables. All of these ones are not allowed in a Chomsky normal form. So what are the steps to follow? Well, first, we need to remove lambda or epsilon productions, depending on the naming convention that you are using. And in this case, in this grammar, as you can see, we don't have any lambda or epsilon production here, right? It doesn't appear anywhere. So we could say that this is okay. We can go to the next one, which is remove unit productions. And unit productions is a production with this shape, right? It's just variable that produces another variable. As you can see, this is not allowed in Chomsky normal form because you always have at least one terminal or two variables on the right hand of the production. If we go to the production rules of this grammar, we can see how we don't have any unit production. So that means that it's fine. Then we should simplify the grammar. And to do this, we need to remove useless symbols, right? And these are the dead symbols. And remember that to identify the dead symbols, we build the set of the alive symbols, and to that we start by the production rules that have a terminal on the right hand, right? So for instance here, okay, let's do the set of the alive symbols, right? So we have ds, because ds derives in a terminal, so we could say that it is alive. And then we need to look for production rules that have ds or a combination of s and terminals on the right hand. And as you can see here in C, we have something that derives in lowercase v s. So we would add C to the set of alive symbols. Now we should look for combinations of S, C, and terminals. And as you can see in A, we have lowercase a, a terminal, combined with C. So this could be also an alive symbol, right? So we add A here, and Finally, we need to look for combinations of S, C, and A, and terminals, right? And here we have combination of A, C, and lowercase a. So we add B to the set of alive symbols. So at the end, all of them are alive, right? So we don't have dead symbols. So it is fine. And then finally, we need to remove inaccessible symbols. And we do the same. We will create the set of the accessible symbols. And the ones that are not in this set are the inaccessible ones. So if for the dead ones, we started to look by the terminals and we went backwards, now we start by the initial symbol and we go forward, right? So the initial symbol is always accessible. And then from the initial symbol, we can go to B to, we have two terminals, which are lowercase a and lowercase b. And we can go to the variable b, can derive to b. So we added to the set of accessible symbols. Now we continue with b, and from b we can reach C and A. And all the rest is already here. So we add C and B to the set of accessible symbols. And I think that we already have everything here, all the symbols. Right. So we can say that there are no inaccessible symbols. Okay, so once that we have done the first step, which is to simplify the grammar, we can continue with the first step to transform this grammar to Chomsky Normal Form. And what we do now is we need to replace each terminal appearing in a chain with one or more variables by a variable. So remember that we need to put all the productions in this form, right, with this shape. So we need to replace each terminal in these chains by a variable, right? We don't need to replace this b because this is already, lowercase b is already in Chomsky normal form, right? So we only need to do it when it appears with a variable, right? Like in this case, for instance, in this other case, here, here, or here. So we will introduce two new variables, which will be x that derives in lowercase a and y that derives in lowercase b. If these variables were already in the grammar, we wouldn't need to introduce them. We could use one of the already existing ones. And then we start by s. And now, instead of lowercase a, we just write x and b. And lowercase b here remains the same because it is already in Chomsky normal form. For A, we do the same, and we have BS, and we replace lowercase a by x. We have xc, and then we have b, and from b we derive in CAB, or a and lowercase b, we have to replace it by a y, bc, and lowercase a, which we replace by x, ac. And finally, we have c that produces lowercase b, which we replace by y and s. Okay, so we are almost there. And as you can see, this is already in Chomsky normal form, except for these productions that are longer than they should be. They should be of length 2, right? So the next step is to, we need to shorten the productions that are longer, that have more than 2 variables. Okay, so second step is to we must we must make shorter the productions with a chain longer than 2 on the right hand, right? More than more than 2 variables, right? Because to be in Chomsky normal form, production can only have 2 variables. To do this, we will need to introduce some new variables here, right? So let's start. Okay, we can start with this, with what we already had in the previous step, and we need to make these ones shorter. Okay, so now we need to replace this by new variables. For instance, here we will insert a new variable, which is d, and this variable will derive in AB. So now the only thing that I need to do is to replace this AB by D. So we go here, we replace it, and as you can see, we already have a production of length 2. Now we need to do the same with YBC, but now we have 3 variables. So in this case, we will introduce 2 new variables, E, that derives in YF, and F, which derives in BC. Right, so now the only thing that I need to do is to replace YBC by E. Right, so we replace YBC by E. And finally, we need to make shorter this chain, right? So we introduce a new variable, which will be g. And in this case, we derive in AC, right? So just write g here. And the grammar is already in Chomsky normal form. Although you need to remember to write all the components from this grammar, right? So here we need to write the set of variables A, B, C, X, Y, D, E, F, G, and also the terminals, which are lowercase a and lowercase b, the production rules, and the initial symbols. So we could say that this is the grammar transformed in Chomsky normal form, okay? Now, as you can see, all the productions derive in a terminal or in two variables, And in this case, we didn't replace this lowercase b. Well, we could write these two productions at the end, okay? To make it start by the initial symbol. Okay, very good. So that's all. These are all the steps that we need. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that this problem solves some of the doubts or some of the issues with this method. I'm planning also to upload more exercises on this topic, Chomsky normal form. So anyway, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to write a comment or to ask, and stick around and be pending on the following videos. So thank you very much for joining me, and see you in the next one.